Hello, everyone, and welcome to our day early review show. I'm Jason with infinityfluxcomics, and yes, today I am flying solo. Unfortunately, Andy was feeling a little under the weather, so literally, as he was reading some of the comics, he was like, I gotta go home. I gotta take a nap. So we sent him home. He told me what he had read about, and I continued to read the other ones to continue to bring you the show today. So as you can see, I have a lot of big books I'm going to be going over. I'm going to talk about what happens in them. We call this sort of our spoiler light show. So I'm going to tell you first appearances, collectible reasons you might want these books. But more than that, I'm going to discuss what's in them, why you might want to read them, why you might like the art. You know, when you go into your comic store each week, there's literally like anywhere between 30 and 50 new books on the wall. This show is here to help you decide which ones you want. I think all said and done, I'm going to be showing off 27 books and their variants and incentives today. So a lot to go over. So without further ado, let's begin. The first book I'm going to show you is Marvel is doing a one shot in honor of Halloween, my favorite holiday. This is Crypt of Shadows. This has five different stories by five different creative teams. Technically it has a sixth story because they have like a crypt keeper who appears in between, and so he's kind of his own story. The main thing to know about this is the first cover appearance of Bloodline, whose name is also Brielle. That's Blade's daughter. So she was first seen in the Avengers X-Men Free Comic Book Day that was released this past Free Comic Book Day. Well, she's back. She has a story in this. Other stories you can find in this, there's a Werewolf by Night story where he teams up with Moon Knight. I mean, how cool is that? Called Werewolf by Moon Knight. Morbius has a story. He's kind of in the city, up to a bunch of things. Elsa Bloodstone teams up with Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four in a story. There's a really creepy, gory X-23 Laura Kinney story where it's her and Man Thing, and it's all through history. They're like sort of regressing and turning into animals together. It's really messed up and gory and just creepy. That one is one of my favorites. So those are generally the stories that are in Crypt of Shadows from Marvel. We've got a few variants to show you. Here is the Libera variant. Then we have the Stegman variant. And lastly, here is the Ryan Brown variant with Man-Thing on there. Okay. I'm going to try to run the show as much how we normally do, just by myself this time. Okay, so next up is Flashpoint Beyond number 6. This is a pretty important issue. So this is the finale of Flashpoint Beyond by Jeff Johns. When, they pull out the big money and they pay Jeff Johns to do a book, he's going to lean into it and do some big things. And I think this is sort of the issue that a lot of people are going to seek out. And I'm going to give you the reasons real quick. This has the first appearance of Cleopatra Pack. Her last name is spelled Pak. And she is a 16-year-old who I believe is taking up the mantle of Ozymandias. It is her little part is towards the end. It is drawn in the Watchmen format, the 3 by 3 grid, not 9 panel grid, and she is dressed up sort of Egyptian theme. Not to mention, Bubastis is with her, or possibly a later clone of Bubastis, who she calls Bubs. So I think that's a pretty big idea or a pretty big deal. And on top of that, she claims that she is looking for the Watchman, not Watchman. She says it singularly, like a character to represent that. Now, could it be that's just her nickname for Dr. Manhattan? I don't know. I think Jeff Johns has something cooking here. But past that, this also has a part where there are 13 secrets that are mentioned that look like they're going to get explored in the upcoming JSA series that I believe, I think Johns is writing that. So, and I mean, literally, there's this machine and it sort of blurbs out these 13 secrets um, that are really cool, like things like Golden Age Red Lantern, Harlequin's son, Quiz Kid, and Judy Garrick. That's four of them. But I mean, there are 13 of them on this page. I think this is setting up what the Justice Society's storylines are going to be covering. So I think pretty important issue of Flashpoint number 6. And here is the variant. This is the Zermanico variant. And then there is a 1 in 25 Dan Mora variant. We're selling to our customers for $20. Okay, so next up, we have the first comic by a new publisher, Whatnot. I'm sure you've heard of the app. It's where a lot of people sell comics and all kinds of things, shoes, games, collectibles. Well, they are now publishing comics, and this is their first one. It is Alpha Betas. And if you think that the art style looks like Rick and Morty on the cover, I think pretty much the whole issue is represented very well by this cover. That's the art style. It is by Kyle Starks. I did give this a read. It is pretty much about this group of four gamers, and they don't really know each other in real life. They're good friends in the game. They're cracking jokes. They're killing things. They're just having a good time. I mean, I've done some gaming, and it really felt like, Kyle Starks does gaming, and he knows what that's like. Well, of course, that's not all there is. It turns out that maybe this game, there's more to it, and perhaps they may be the people that are needed to save the world. The story really, the plot really kicks in the last few pages. You're really just meeting the characters and having fun with them as they play this game where they decide the best way to kill people is to shoot them in the butt. That really is a part to it. So anyhow, that is generally the plot. And I think the sort of personal appeal to is somebody who loves comics and games. I think if you're a non-gamer, you still might like it, but I don't think you're going to like it nearly as much. So here are the variants to that. Here is the Super Mario variant to it, Super Mario homage variant. And then we have a Jim Food variant. You can always spot his art a mile away. Style that really stands out. And then here is a 1 in 10 black and white version of that we're selling to our customers for $20. Okay, so next up is probably the comic I think that had the best. It surprised me how good the art was in this one. So it is Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1. This is a new miniseries where I don't can't tell how in canon this is. I don't think it's sort of in canon. I think it's sort of its own thing. But Peter Parker travels to LA and he starts having these weird, crazy dreams. And I like it when they find the right artist who can do um, weird dream art, and that is all through this. The art is just creepy, weird, beautiful, surreal art. So Peter's having all these weird dreams, and there's a demon bear. As far as why this is all happening, it's not really described yet. It's not coming up in the plot quite yet. I think you're gonna have to read a second issue, but this first issue, the art alone, I would pick this one up. It was really cool to read. I was really blown away by it. It was written by B. Earl and Taboo, and the interior artist is Juan Ferreria. So hats off to Ferreria because some awesome art in it. So we got quite a few variants on this one. We have the Casanovas variant. We have the Bengal variant. We've got the Albuquerque variant. Albuquerque, of course, knows all about those demon bears. And then we've got the David Mack variant. Not as much as Sienkiewicz would, though. I guess Sienkiewicz was too busy. And lastly, we have the 1 in 25 Momoko variant that we are selling for $50. She's got to get her eyeballs in on those variants. You know Momoko. We're always talking about her and the love of eyeballs. Okay, so let's see. What is next? Next up, we have from DC GCPD #1. It's GCPD The Blue Wall #1. So the title is in it. That's kind of a major point, major plot point, this blue wall. So of course this is about Renee Montoya, who is the commissioner. She's Gotham's commissioner now. And behind her there are three cadets that have just graduated. So the story starts where Renee is giving a sort of a graduation speech. She's giving them a pep talk on how to be. And she talks about we got to build this blue wall. We've got to show everybody that the police are good, that we serve with respect, all that. And that's a lot of what the blue wall is about. Is she's trying to get them to not just do their job, but to do it really, really well in a way where they're going to build communities and things of that sort. Um, One thing I would say about this, there's a lot of talk about what the police are supposed to do and the difficult calls they have to make. So one of our characters, one of the cadets, who's sort of like the secondary main character, um, she does something that ends up making her look like a hero. So the news is reporting it. The other police are calling her a hero, but secretly she feels like she's a coward. You'll have to read the comic to see what this is, but she has a lot of problems with being called a hero. Um, I think this is more for this comic is for more people who like their comics like books. There is a lot of heavy story in this one. If you're looking for a lot of action, it just isn't there. Of course, this is by John Ridley, and John Ridley, that's a lot of how he writes. I mean, he's from writing books. So, and the art is by Stefano Raffaelli. So, if you're the sort of person who are interested in sort of social issues, even within the police force, that's a lot of what this book is about. So, as far as the variant, we have the Francavilla variant. Francavilla was an interesting artist choice for this one. Usually he just does all the horror books, but giving him something different to do. Okay, so the next book is Thor number 28. So this one has something pretty interesting in it because Venom slash Eddie Brock Venom, fuses with Thor and they make the God in Black. So I kid you not. And the Venom Eddie Brock even says, "Hey, I'm used to being on the inside," whereas this time Thor is on the inside, and the Eddie Brock Venom symbiote is the outside sort of character. So I don't think that's ever really been done in any comic before in that way. And they do this in order to fight Bedlam's child, who has his evil hammer. So that's the main takeaway point to Thor number 28. It does end that plot line that was going on if you've been reading it. And here is the variant. This is the Smallwood variant. Thor is looking real different on this one. I do like the bright colors on that a lot, though, I will say. Okay, so continuing on. I'll pause for a coffee break. Keep the energy up. Okay, so this next one, I didn't have time to read every single comic this week. It's enough for Andy and I to divide this, and we're already doing the work of 3 or 4 people. Um, so this one, I flipped through it. I did not really. Oh, the wrong one. Oh no, that is it. Okay, so it is Batman One Bad Day Penguin. The main takeaway point to this is it is the first appearance of the Umbrella Man. He is the mastermind who makes all of Penguin's fancy umbrellas. So if you've been reading all the other One Bad Days, it's just going to feature the villain. They're not exactly origin tales, but I think this was maybe the one Andy was reading right when he had to go. But first appearance of the Umbrella Man, and here is the variant. This is the Jim Lee variant on that one for all you many Jim Lee fans out there. And then there's a 1 in 25 Mora variant that we're selling to our customers for $20. Okay. So the next one is one I certainly read. Everybody who watches this show knows that I'm a huge Moon Knight fan. I do all of our Moon Knight reading around here. So I read Moon Knight number 16. And in this issue, it has another first appearance of a new villain. Her name is Lady Yulan. He is sort of the new vampire leader of the Chinatown gang. and Moon Knight sort of accosts her place because he's trying to he's trying to take down Tudor, the other head vampire, and so he goes after this new Lady Yulan to find Tudor, and it doesn't go very easy for him. But meanwhile, we have a backup story with Hunter's Moon, where he is directly going after Tudor. And so, in the background, while Moon Knight is talking with Lady Yulan, you get this awesome battle with Hunter's Moon and Tudor. And I will say it does not go well for Hunter's Moon. You will have to read it yourself to see, but something pretty shocking happens in the end. So that's what's going on in Moon Knight number 16. Another great issue of just the series. It's just been thrilling and awesome to read throughout. Here is the Sarah variant. And then we have the NetEase game variant with Elektra. Okay. There are so many people who come in our shop who are fans of the Harley Quinn animated show, and it is great because some of them have started reading comics thanks to her. Well, the second series has begun. Harley Quinn, the animated show in Legion of Bats #1. This is coming out this week. I did not have a chance to read it, so I can't tell you really much more than that. But I mean, if you enjoy the HBO show, you're going to probably want to pick it up if you like the last one, which was hugely popular in our store. As far as variants though, check out this really awesome Dan Hip variant. Just forging those characters together. And there's also this 1 in 25 Faber variant that we're selling to our customers for 20 bucks. With Harley and Ivy having fun in the arcade. I see behind them it's Backman and Buckshot. That's the name of the games. Okay, so the next one, Midnight Suns #2. So one takeaway from this one is it has Agatha Harkness young. It has a young version of her. So it's sort of a flashback of her at a different time in her life. And I think this is going to more reflect how she may look in upcoming series. But we'll have to see because she doesn't stay that way the whole time. It's just sort of towards the beginning. This is more of the new Midnight Suns team having to stop Doctor Doom, who's going after Zoe Laveau. In the previous issue, it was sort of seen that Zoe Laveau was going to bring down, it was like the fall of mankind. And so everyone's trying to get to the root of this, and every magic character in the planet saw this. But unfortunately, that includes Doctor Doom. And Doctor Doom doesn't want to talk, he just wants to find her and destroy her. So he has created a whole nother problem. So that's what's going on in Midnight Suns #2. As far as our variants, we have the game costume design variant. And there is also the NetEase game variant with awesome looking blade on there. And lastly, there's this 1 in 25 Ribic variant that we're selling to our customers for 25 bucks. Okay. So some of these I'm just showing that they are out since I have not had a chance to read everything. And that includes, I think Gunslinger Spawn is going to be my next one. Oh, no, no, I'm on Nightwing. Yes. Okay, awesome. I did read this one. So this is Nightwing issue number 97. Look at that cover. I really like what Redondo did on this cover. Of course, Nightwing is written by Tom Taylor with the interior art done by Redondo. Quite an amazing book, one of the best reviewed books at DC, won many awards, and it's heading towards issue 100. So in this issue, the last issue, Blockbuster was taken out by Heartless in a very gruesome manner. This issue, Maroni, the head crime lord of Bloodhaven, is offered a deal by the police where he can turn over all the other crime families and everything. But they're going to have to protect him. Well, how are they going to do this? They call in a favor from somebody in Gotham. You'll have to read it to see who that is. Well, they still have to transport Maroni to Gotham, and in doing that, all the criminals are coming out of the woodwork trying to make this not happen. So, of course, Nightwing and Batgirl get involved, and they have to try to protect Maroni. But what's the weirdest part is the end. You'll have to read the end for yourself, but a character shows up, no explanation, and it's very weird, it makes no sense, but it is acknowledged. In fact, right at the end, they say it's about to get even stranger. One thing I know is the next issue is going to introduce Nightmite, who is the Nightwing version of Batmite. So I can't spoil what happens at the end, but it is weird and it does seem like maybe other versions of Nightwing from another universe might be getting involved. So that's, as far as why, I have not even a guess. I mean, it literally is just like it's the end. There they are. But I'm sure we will find out next issue. And as far as the variants, of course, we have the Jamal Campbell variant. Wouldn't be an issue of Nightwing without a Jamal Campbell variant. And there's also this 1 in 25 Acuna variant we're selling for $20. Okay. All right. So Neil Gaiman and Mark Buckingham's Miracleman is back. After decades and decades away, they are returning to finish their story with a new character. So this is called Miracleman the Silver Age. This is issue number 1. And it is about a miracle man whose last memories were in the Silver Age, but now he's in our time. This first issue kind of goes over his origin and kind of starts things. Some of it is from the end of their last series with the art sort of redone, and then some of it is new. So that is generally what's going on at Miracle Man, the Silver Age number 1. I didn't have a chance to fully read it. I just kind of flipped through it and read as much as I could. Um, so the variants, we have the Strauss variant and we have the Phil Noto variant. Okay, what do we have next? So next up, yes, World's Finest, Batman Superman World's Finest number 8. So on the cover, you see Superman and you see Boy Thunder. This is Boy Thunder's origin. For one thing, he gets his full name. He actually gets called Boy Thunder, and it's sticking in this issue. But you get the origin of where he's from. You get what happened to his planet. That is a lot of what's going on in World's Finest number 8, which has been just a really good read. And the variant for it is here is the Clark variant. World's Finest number 8. Okay, next up, we've got Darth Vader number 28. So, everybody knows Andy's our Star Wars guy around here. I read Star Wars stuff too, but I can't hold a candle to his knowledge on Star Wars or his just passion and love for everything Star Wars. So he read this one. He told me it was a good enough story, but the main thing to it is it looks like the other handmaidens might be getting involved. They may be coming to either save or stop Sade. So that kind of happens towards the end of the issue. But that's a little bit of what is going on in Darth Vader number 28. No major firsts or anything like that. Just more of the story continued. And here is the variant. Here is the Reese variant and the Greg Land variant. Another one that typically Andy reads, so I did not read this. Gunslinger Spawn issue number 13 is coming out this Wednesday. So just making you aware, those of you who love Spawn, who love all the new offshoots that have happened, offshoot series, that Spawn 13 is coming out this Wednesday. And here is the variant. This is the Booth variant for that same issue. Got a lot to go through, so just flying through them today. But I did make sure to look into any first appearances or any other major things, and I did read a good bit of these. Okay, so the next one, this is neat. So this is Iron Man number 24. Next issue, Iron Man 25, I think is going to be, it's considered Iron Man's overall 650th issue. So I think they're going to do a major one with that. This issue, though, Iron Man has been trying to get the Mandarin's rings, which have gone up for sale. And he's been fighting the Cobalt Man. A lot of weird stuff's been going on. Well, this issue, the main thing I'll tell you about this is that Riri Williams, yes, Ironheart, makes a surprise appearance in this issue. And by the end of it, she is going to leave with a very powerful weapon that she plans on maybe doing good with, maybe even changing it from a weapon. So I was surprised to see her so much in this issue, and the fact that they've really given her something they're going to have to address if she has any other appearances or any other series coming up. So sort of a little bit of a turning point with her character, and her and Tony get a real long discussion about this thing because he really doesn't want her to have it, but she obviously wins the discussion. This also ends the current plot line that they are on. um, we do not have the variant for that one, so just the A cover on that to show off. Okay, so next up, I did read Flash number 787. I enjoy Flash. This is a really good, just one and done comic, and the cover says it all. There is an intergalactic wrestling group that appears on Earth, and they start doing battle. Flash sees it on TV. He thinks it's just on TV, but realizes, oh, this is in Central City. They're wrecking Central City. So he shows up, and he gets embroiled in this whole wrestling mess. So the wrestler on the cover, it's his first appearance. His name is Omega Bam Man. There are other wrestlers that are named, but Omega Bam Man is kind of the main one. There are commentators. One is clearly modeled off of Mean Gene Okerlund. So just a really funny, light read. But I will tell you, Omega Bam Man gives Flash some advice because during commercial breaks they can talk. And Wally West is like, I'm feeling kind of tired. I'm a dad. I have these kids I'm raising. I'm a hero. I'm trying to protect the city. And Omega Bam Man kind of tells him, look, that's great. You also need to have fun. You have to have an outlet for fun. And after thinking about it, this is why Wally really throws in. So they end up teaming up. They turn into a tag team. They take on other galactic wrestlers. Just a really awesome, cool, fun, funny issue. And that's what Flash has been the whole time for the most part. So Flash issue 787, great read. And here is the Cambidias variant for that issue. But it really is one and done. I mean, it's over by the end of it. Although there are hints that there may be more of it someday, and I hope so. Okay, so the next book to go over is Carnage, issue number 7. So I gave this one a read as well. This is more of what the plot has been doing, which is Carnage and his serial killer companion. They're in the Asgardian hell, where Carnage is launching a major plan to get as powerful as a god. So more of that continues in Carnage number 7. No major firsts or anything like that. It's more of the storyline. The variants, we have the Magno variant, and we have the U Miracleman variant. Okay, let's see what is next. Next up, Eve is back in her second series. This is Eve, Children of the Moon. This is going to be another mini series, I believe a 6-issue mini series by the original creative team. Victor Lavelle is writing it again. I read the first Eve, but it's been so long, I did not get a chance to crack this one open. But I just want everyone to know that this is out starting on Wednesday, and it has some variants with it. We have the Lindsay variant. Then there is the same, but this is the 1 in 10 virgin Lindsay variant that we're selling to our customers for $10. There is also a one per store variant going around that we are also selling for $10. This is a Anadito one per store variant. Okay. Next up, I checked out Avengers number 61. This is a Star Brand story. I mean, look at this cover. There is even a Star Brand T-Rex in this. I mean, you see it right on the cover. So this is just Star Brand all through history, different Star Brands. Just a wild, wild story. Avengers has been such a wild book with them all going through time and everything. So that is generally what's happening. Some people might care. It's first appearance of a T-Rex Star Brand. I'm really not sure we're going to see that again, but it is pretty cool. There, and we do not have the variant for that one either. So okay, next up, we're getting to some of the DC horror stuff, which I have not read these, but wanted to make everyone aware these are out starting tomorrow. DC versus Vampires All Out War number 6 is out, and Dceased War of the Undead Gods number 3 is out tomorrow as well. Both of them have some variants. So here is the Ward variant for DC versus Vampires All Out War 4. And then Dceased has two different variants. We've got the Mora variant for Deceased War of the Undead Gods, and we have the Pale New variant. So if you need your fix of DC horror books, two different ones out this week. And then there is Alien number 2 is out. Andy was the one who read number 1, so I have not gotten a chance to read this one, but want people to know this Wednesday, Alien number 2 is out, and I'm sure people are interested to see these variants. Here is the Frank variant, and then we have the Barons variant. And I like that now Marvel has both the properties. You can have in the same week that Alien comes out, you can have a Predator book that comes out. How long until we have Alien versus Predator? And all three of them are coming out. So Predator number 3 is releasing also this Wednesday. It's another one that is coming out. I have not read it yet, but I just want to make you aware. And here is the Harvey variant for Predator number 3. Then we have some X books that are coming out this week. We have X Force number 33 is coming out this Wednesday. More dinosaurs. You put dinosaurs in a comic, and the kids come running, and the adults with childlike hearts too. We got the Dragoda variant for X Force 33, and we have the NetEase variant for that same issue. And then, of course, the other X book out this week, XMen number 16, is also out this Wednesday. And for that, we have the NetEase game variant, and then the Havoc trading card variant. I remember these trading cards. And the last book I wanted to show off is Marvel Family number 1. Marvel Family Comics number 1 Facsimile is out tomorrow from DC. So, of course, this is a facsimile of the book that came out in 1945. This has the first appearance of Black Adam and also the origin of the Marvel family, as you see on the cover here. So, a lot of real important things in this book. Our store, we pick up a lot of comics. We buy all kinds of stuff. We travel for collections. We've never had this one come through. These books back from the 40s, I mean, good luck finding them. So instead, you can find a facsimile and read that instead. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Got to do my show solo. Andy did that a few weeks ago when I was away on a trip. Um, it's a lot more fun having another person or two here, not just hearing yourself talk the whole time. But you know, as they say, the show must go on. I know a lot of people have come to rely on us to see what new comics are coming out, to hear about first appearances, to hear a little bit more about these issue number ones. And so I was happy enough to put in as much of a day as I could to pull this together. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. I'm sure Andy will be back on our show Comics from the Future this Friday. In the meantime, thank you for watching. I hope I have been helpful, and I will see you next time.